Thanks for staying with us, everyone. You're watching News Night, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Now, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board says it is investigating complaints about this year's Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination results. JAMB says it will fast-track the annual system review to identify and rectify potential technical issues. The review will involve a team of experts, which includes computer professionals, heads of tertiary institutions, educational assessment and Research Network Africa, and vice-chancellors from various institutions. The examination board says if glitches are found, it will implement remedial measures promptly by ensuring that every candidate gets to sit for the test and will reschedule examinations if there were indeed technical issues during the examination phase. Now, disgruntled families of UTME candidates say they are considering legal action over what they say was the mishandling of the exams. I'm joined now from our Lagos studio by Hilary Nnalue, who is the parent of a UTME candidate. With him is his legal counsel, Oyewole. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight. Let me start with the disgruntled parent, if I may describe them as such. First off, I mean, what are you unhappy about? One would think that when a computer-based test is done and the results are out, it is the exact reflection of the performance of the students.
Mr. Nnalue?
Yes, Mr. Nnalue, please.
Good evening, Thank you. I didn't hear the last part of your question, but I can make out what you're trying to find out. The expectation of every parent.
I can repeat the last part of that question. My point is, a computer-based test, one would expect that when the results are out, it's a reflection of the performance of the candidates.
No, I totally disagree. In this instance, it is very clear for someone like me who knows what I have put into my children doing well at exams like this. I have a library at home. My children, all of them have private teachers. My particular daughter in this instance is a very hardworking child. I watch her every night, stay up till about 2 a.m. She did her GCE in SS2 and cleared all her papers. Her teachers are surprised. Her friends are surprised. Everybody that knows how brilliant she is surprised. If you go back to the Girl Child Award for last year, she was the third person in the national essay competition. This is a child that is very hardworking. It is very clear to me that the JAMB systems are not working. This is not the first time. It has always been there. It's a very incompetent system. It's a system that every year deny many Nigerian children of their right to go to higher institutions because of the inefficiencies of the system. I can tell you, and I can prove to you, that what I'm saying now, if you ask me to place my WhatsApp number here and for parents to contact me, before tomorrow we will have about 1,000 parents. If those children are kept in a place and on camera to write this JAMB, you will see that most of them will clear the JAMB. So it is not the children who have not prepared well. It is JAMB that has just messed up the efforts of these children. And we need to look beyond these stories and these excuses. that JAMB is coming up with. Today I watched their spokesperson on TVC this morning trying to blame this thing on maybe the children didn't study hard or probably the supervision was thorough. That is not true. There has always been this incompetence, this failure on the part of JAMB to meet up the expectations of Nigerians. So this is just one of the cases that, exploded beyond their own handling. What they do in the past is when you have issues like this, you go to their office, probably you're speaking for only your child, and then what they do is they try to set up some exams for the child, and oftentimes most of those children that go for such, they clear it,
Okay.
So as an institution,
if I may comment very quickly before I bring in your legal counsel, Mr. Oyewole, can you clarify to me, Mr. Nnalue, that your daughter, is this the first time she'll be sitting for this examination? Because I'm curious. I came across the story of one student who had done JAMB about 3 times. In 2022, scored 236. In 2023, scored 271. In 2024, 290. And in 2025, 169. And I'm wondering, why is it, how come students have to sit for JAMB that many times, especially when they have, made the cutoff mark? Would this be the first time that your daughter will be sitting for this exam?
Yes, this will be her first time. And judging by her GCE, I am very sure that she did better than this. And that is why I'm saying it on national television. If you bring her in on camera and you give her these questions, she will clear it. Okay. I am very confident that my daughter will clear those papers.
All right, let me
So what has just happened?
Let me bring in your counsel, because look, JAMB is saying we're willing to review the examination results, and if there are any glitches, would allow, students will reschedule examinations if indeed there were technical issues during the examination phase. Mr. Oyewole, let me get your response. Will this be a class action? Is that what the plan is, or you're only just representing the Nnalues? And what do you make of JAMB's response saying that, look, we are willing to review the examination results. If there were any computer glitches, we're ready for the students or candidates to receive the examinations?
Yes, thank you very much. Apart from being representing Mr. Nnalue here, we are pleased to say that we are also representing the millions of Nigerians that JAMB has failed. Because take, for example, Mr. Nnalue here. The daughter wrote GCE in SS2. For somebody that has not been in SS3, wrote GCE in SS2 and had A's in all her exams. JAMB needs to come and explain to us why somebody that had A's in all her exams in her GCE would score 172 in JAMB. JAMB has a whole lot of explanations to make to Nigerians. And what we are saying here is not far-fetched. One, there must be a thorough audit of that process. If JAMB is not willing to do that, they must conduct a receipt for those children that failed. Because it is simple. If you have done something that we Nigerians know that you have failed us, there's nothing wrong in you owning up that the system has failed this time around, which had not used to be. So if you admit your failure, there must be remedy for it. You can't just fail Nigerians and expect us to keep quiet. So this is our plea to them. One is to conduct a thorough investigation, to come out and tell Nigerians what had gone wrong. And the second option is, these children that you have failed, you must conduct a receipt for them on a no payment ground. If JAMB is not willing to come and do this, we will not hesitate to institute a legal action against them.
Let me remain with you. Remain with you, Mr. Oyewole. Look, the JAMB registrar actually said this has been a trend in the last decade or so. If you look at the figures of 2024, 76% scored less than 200 points, 200 out of 400, of course. In 2022, 78% scored less than 200. And, of course, in 2021, only 803 out of 1.3 million students or candidates scored above 300. So it's been a steady, decline over the years in the last one decade. Don't you, 10 years, don't you think a bad precedents may be set, where students fail and they say, no, that's not my results. This is what JAMB gave me. I have to get a receipt. Especially if JAMB comes out with its results showing that indeed, because this was a computer-based test, and so it was a clear reflection of the students' performance.
Well, I beg to disagree with that position. The fact that you've been conducting exams and there had been no complaint whatsoever, or the complaint had always been worked down and people do not really complain, and you feel that you have to go away with it. No, that's why we are coming out this time and to say that that fundamental error that is wrong with the system must be checked. We cannot continue. You cannot continue to fail the children. You cannot continue to fail the system under the excuse that because they were being thoroughly invigilated. I just gave you a distance of his own child now that scored 8 A's in WAEC, just in SS2. And for you to now come to say that that girl scored 172 in her JAMB results. And this is just one out of many of these children that you have failed.
Yeah, it's possible because, these are objectives.
So
I'm not speaking for JAMB, but it is possible. It's different when you asked, context to respond to questions based on context and what have you. But these are objectives. Just mark A, B, C, D, or E. And, it could just reflect, the understanding of the candidates in the course of the exams. But I'm not speaking for JAMB. You plan to go to court. If indeed you eventually go to court, what would you be praying the court?
Yes, we'll be praying that these students that were massively failed by the system that is erroneous should be asked to come and resit that exam. Now, that is the only way they can justify us that the students who are claiming failed did not actually fail or actually failed. That's the only way that can be, that can be done. If not, there will be problem. Our children cannot continue to fail under the pretext of a wrong system. And nobody's addressing it. How long do we continue like that? 78% this year, 80% next year. Who knows what will happen? How do we go on and go on like that? There must be check to all of this. If JAMB has admitted, or if JAMB is intending to say that, okay, there is problem, let's address this problem and let's solve it once and for all. Right. We cannot continue like this. I'm not saying all the children are 100% brilliant, but you cannot conduct exam for 100% and say 78% failed when we have an example of somebody that scored 8 A's. That's unfair. We need an explanation. Come and tell us what happened.
Absolutely.
Come and tell us.
Nigerians do need an explanation. Mr. Nnalue, before I let you go, do you think this is an opportunity for you as a parent and the whole of society to actually begin to call for a review of or reforms of Nigeria's education sector?
Yes. It's actually a very perfect opportunity. Now, because we're just coming out now out of our frustrations. I have spoken to a lot of parents. I run another institution that puts me in a position where parents come to me to come and complain about things like this. So we have very large numbers of parents that have come out this time to complain. And this morning, I heard the JAMB spokesperson say that he used the word an avalanche of complaints. If you go to the social media, then you read things like 11 million people complaining. Now, if a system is functional, if a system is working, you can't have a problem where about 11 million people are complaining about a system. And you say that such a system is an efficient system, is a system that cannot be questioned. It's not possible. It defies, simple reasoning. So it is very clear. If you go back to the past, the antecedent of JAMB, since they started their computer-based test, what you find every year is a lot of children, brilliant children, who put effort into preparing for this exam. And at the end of the day, JAMB comes out with scores that you cannot accept, because at least we are educated parents and we know that these children are brilliant based on the previous results, you know, from their previous classes. We know. So when these things happen, oftentimes most parents are not able to come out to question JAMB.
Okay,
you know,
we'll have to leave
so
it there.
this time around,
yeah, we'll have to leave it there. Hillary Nnalue is a parent, an aggrieved parent of an aggrieved candidate of UTME, and Oyewole Esquire is a legal counsel to the aggrieved JAMB candidate, and he says he also represents the larger number of Nigerians who are wondering why the children are not doing so well, whether it's JAMB or even the WASC examinations you're talking about. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight.